12 years ago, Barbra Streisand went to California to make her first film, Funny Girl, the story of the young Fanny Brice. In those 12 years, she has become a top female star in Hollywood. Indeed, she's the only actress to make the top 10 at the box office regularly, year after year. But in these 12 years, Barbra Streisand has given very few newspaper or magazine interviews and no television interviews at all. The stories of a difficult, temperamental Streisand have grown. Now, with a new film, it's called Funny Lady, about to be released, Barbra Streisand agreed to this television interview. She talked with Barbara Walters in Hollywood. And here is part one of this two-part interview.
Barbara, you rarely do newspaper interviews. You haven't done a television interview in years. Why not? What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Being misunderstood, I think. Not television. In other words, television sees you as you are. I like that. I like that. But the things that are written about you can be so misunderstood so easily. Because if you say something in jest, and they can't capture the kind of quality of what you're saying, the tone of it.
I start out being a big fan, so I'm ahead of the game. But we've talked. You haven't been difficult. You did your own makeup. You did your own hair. And yet there is the feeling about Barbra Streisand that she is difficult, that she's temperamental. Okay, how do you feel about this? Are you?
Well, easy. There's two questions you asked me, right? Because how do I feel about it?
Hey, are you?
Yeah. And am I?
Yes.
How do I feel about it? That I'm amused by it. Also upset by it. Because it hurts me. In other words, I get shocked, when I hear stories about myself that I took a shoe off and threw it across the Beverly Hills lounge or something, and it's totally untrue. But it's something, it's part of my image somehow. And journalistically, it's probably much more interesting, than writing about this nice person, So I really try to sort of scan my mind and figure out what it is that I do or have done that has...
What do you think it is? Was it because when you came here you were maybe shy, or why? How do you think it's happened, if it's untrue?
Because it's probably a combination of things. Like you just said before, you said, I came here and I did my own makeup and I did my own hair. I think a lot of people resent that, Everyone wants to be needed. And maybe they feel they're not needed. But it's really nothing personal, and it has nothing to do with them. It's just that I have a sense of who I am, what I look like, or what I want to look like. And nobody knows yourself as well as you, or nobody should know themselves as well as themselves,
Do you think, and let me go back a little bit. Are you temperamental? Are you difficult to work with?
I would say no. I would say no, because I just do my work. Meaning I ask questions, and I think maybe some people resent questions being asked, or I also have definite opinions on the way I want to do things. Although I'm really very open to exploration. I love to explore and love challenges. So, but I have noticed on the set, you know what I mean, sort of tension. Everybody's waiting to see, well, what is she like, I pride myself in being fair and giving, like to my fellow actors, let's say. Even when I'm off camera, I want to give them so that they can have the fullest performance, because that's what I want too. I want them to give me something off camera. So I really pride myself in kind of professional behavior. Even there have been times, where a director has said something to me that has made me feel very sensitive, because I'm aware that everybody is listening with such big ears, to see something that they've read about.
Well, do you think that over the years the press has just been very tough on you, and that it's a whole inaccurate
myth? No, I can't say that, because I don't like to give interviews.
Yeah.
Nobody likes you if you don't want to give an interview. They don't understand. They don't look further. What is it that she doesn't like? Do you know what I mean? I was telling you a story before about being on the set and the bathtub was too low. And I said, listen, I can't be in the bathtub. It's too low. I'll be all exposed. You know, they said, oh, yeah, naturally, we made a mistake. We changed the bathtub. And that night on television said Barbra Streisand temperamentally walked off the set because the bathtub wasn't right.
Do you think also part of it, and I don't want to get into the whole women's lip thing, but do you think that part of it is that if you do it, you're a witch, and if a man does it, he has authority? That there's something about it being you and a woman?
Yeah, definitely. Because of the whole male ego. You see, the distortion of most men's ego. They just, I don't think they can cope with a woman who has opinions, a woman who feels strongly about something. It's some kind of threat to their own ego. I have been fascinated by it, you know, but I think it definitely exists. A kind of power play.
Someday I'll tell you my problem.
Well, I can imagine you probably have the same problems.
Funny Lady. I hear it's going to be marvelous.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be the big picture. You play Fanny Brice at a later stage, 35 to 45, which is 50 to 50.
Only a couple of scenes she's 50.
How do you feel about playing? How do you feel about playing the role and a much more mature lady, a much older lady than Streisand?
Well, it was a challenge as an actress, you know. In other words, in Funny Girl, I really, although I felt that I was true to the spirit of Fanny Brice. It was my first film, and I was me. You know,
Was that your first film?
Yeah. I was singing and talking about what I believed and what I thought, what I felt, you know. I had my long fingernails, which made no sense for Funny Girl, in a sense, you know, if you want to be specific about it or literal about it.
Yeah, they're not long anymore.
I didn't wear the lipstick that, I didn't wear the lipstick I should have worn, you know. Now I'm not so much interested in myself as the character. So it was a character piece for me, you know. I was very much true to Fanny Brice, to the lady who called everybody kid because she couldn't remember anyone's name. You know, I had a very tough exterior and wore my dark red 30s lipstick. And
you're not the gamine in this. You think people will...
I hope they don't come in expecting it to be Funny Girl, because it's not. It's a very interesting story about her and Billy Rose and this competitive relationship. It's very funny and very charming, but it is not. I don't try to be liked. I don't know if she's likable, this character.
Look, my secretary, who's a tremendous fan, said, will she do more concerts? I mean, her fans can't see her. Will you do more singing, less singing? How do you see that?
I really don't enjoy personal appearances. They frighten me. Scare me, you know? Well, how would you like to be singing in front of all those people and everything? I mean,
I'd just like to come listen.
Well, you see, in the privacy of my... I also... I have a great need for privacy, too, when I want it.
But you don't sing at parties. I mean, you don't stand up and sing like some singers do.
No, you see, it's different. In other words, when I was 18 years old, the first time I ever sang for somebody, I said, I can't sing in front of you. I'm too embarrassed, so I'll have to face the wall. And I sang facing the wall. Do you know what I mean? I turned around and I remember seeing my friends crying, you know, and I thought, wow, you know.
So it really is hard for you to sing publicly.
Well, it's frightening. Like that concert it was 135,000 people, you know, and I...
In Central Park?
Yeah.
The concert I went to see,
we had to have policemen and people were rushing, and I am human. You know what I mean? I don't want to be treated like something not human.
Barbara, right now, are things good for you? Is it a good life? You feel, you know, you're kind of there and it's a peace?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the most lucid time in my life. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like I see things more clearly than I have ever seen them before. I see my faults, you know. I see what I like about myself, you know. I see what it is to be alive. You know, I'm learning more and more every day about just living, the art of living. It's true. I never realized that about the art of living before.
Part 2 of this interview with Barbra Streisand, talking about her relationship with her closest companion, the hairdresser John Peters, will be seen tomorrow in this time period on Today. stylist in Beverly Hills, and he came to comb the Streisand wig, and he seems to have slayed to win her heart. Barbra Streisand and John Peters are now making a film together. She's starring, he directing, and the rumors are that he is directing her life as well as her film. What is John Peters really like? Barbra Streisand talks intimately about this and other aspects of her life in this exclusive interview with Barbara Walters.
You and John Peters, who is a very successful hairstylist here and has lots of shops, and is now Barbra Streisand's constant companion, friend, whatever. Okay, people say he's a Svengali. People say he's going to direct your next film, Rainbow River.
No.
That he's taken over your life.
Wait, it's not called...
What is it called?
A Star is Born.
You've changed the title.
We never had... It was Rainbow Road.
I'm doing fine.
Somebody gave it that title.
It's a remake of A Star is Born.
Yeah.
And John Peters is supposed to direct it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he's going to direct it.
He's going to direct it. He's never directed before.
No.
Okay, so people say, here's this girl. He's taken over her life. He's Svengali. He's going to ruin her. A, who is he? B, how dare she let a man who's never direct a film? Tell us about him.
Been done before. It's and I had never had a screen test, and I had 3 contracts. Everybody was against me. I was no longer the underdog. You see?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't change my name. I didn't have my teeth capped. I didn't fix my nose, whatever. I didn't supposedly pay the dues that one is supposed to pay. Except, I always feel that one pays dues of their lives, of their living, of their childhood, of whatever. I paid my dues.
Well, is he a Svengali? Yeah. Has he taken over your life?
It's absurd. I mean, I don't know who's Svengali. Maybe I'm his. We are 2 people who are equals. He is the strongest person I've ever met. I don't mean physically. I mean in his presence, in his sense of self, in his perceptions of other people, of other things, in his sensitivity, in his vitality, in his unconventional conventionalness, like me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's fabulous to find somebody who's like you. I've always, in the past, been when I didn't like myself as much as I like myself now. In the past, when I didn't like myself, I was always drawn to people who were not like me, different than me. And I have found that, God, the more you can grow to accept yourself, you can appreciate someone who's like you.
Has he made you less of a recluse?
Oh, yeah. Because he's part of the world. And he sort of, pulled me out.
But aren't you scared? I mean, you live in you're a professional. I mean, people have always said about Streisand, she knows what's best for her. Aren't you afraid?
Now look, you just answered your own question.
Yeah.
I am a professional. I have integrity as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Do people think that I would risk all that?
Okay, would you with a man who's never directed a film, Barbara?
Because it has nothing to do with what is the important ingredients in doing anything well. Directing is one of them. Meaning, you have to have instinct. You have to have imagination. You have to have intelligence. You have to have taste. You have to have an eye. You have to have great sensitivity and know how to bring qualities out in people that you want to use on film. You can get a great cameraman to tell you the difference between a 180 lens and a 1,000-millimeter lens. That's the easy part. That's what you can go to school for. But you can't give or teach somebody the other qualities that I mentioned.
And you think he has?
John has all of them, of course. And it's a collaborative thing. We're going to do this film together. It's a labor of love. It's also going to be great fun, great excitement, great challenge. That's what life's about.
Do you think that the press has misunderstood him and your relationship?
Oh, yeah, it makes great copy. Do you know what I mean? It's great copy.
This hustling guy that's come in is going to ruin it.
Stupid.
Tell me about the other man in your life. He's 8 years old. Tell me about Jason. Is it hard? I would think, now that he's old enough to know that mother's Barbra Streisand. How do you cope with that for him?
I try now, and a great deal of this has been with John's help and influence, in my life, because I now go to the public beach, where we live, there where we live.
Can you do that?
Yeah. I go there. I take Jason there, and he goes in the water, and he's part of the world, you know. Most people figure, well, it can't be Barbra Streisand because what's she doing on a public beach, you know? But Jason goes to a public school. Jason leads a very different life now, and it's what I was directing my own life towards, you see, which was that kind of a lack of, I mean, it's more realism, it's more realistic for a child to be in a public school where he is one of 24 and is just not being given such individual treatment because he is either a famous person's son or his parents, you know, contribute to the school fund.
Here's a chance for people to know you, for people to understand you. And
do you think they ever can, though, in such a minimal amount of time and space?
Maybe, if you tell them what you think is most important for them to know, or what you think they...
See, I just don't like them to go to the movies, you know, and be influenced by what they read, and think, gee, look, she's, you know, I really like her, but I hear she's terrible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In other words, people are what they are. You don't fool anybody, especially in the films when your eyes are 40 feet wide. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would just like people not to be confused, you know, to trust their instincts, whatever they might be, or even if they hate me, then they're entitled to that, you know, but that they shouldn't be misled by what they read. I'm misled, you know. The power of black and white print is phenomenal. I read something in the paper and I think, God, that must be true, and then I have to think, wait a minute.
But, you know, when people were saying, when I was doing this interview, and people said, you know, you're doing the interview, and aren't you what? I was never, I said, it's going to be fine.
They said that about you.
Really?
How could you go on her show, you know?
I knew we'd
she's
have no
tough,
problem.
she's something like that. I said, my God, I saw her on TV, and she looks like a real person to me, bright, intelligent, warm.
Why don't we run away together? Get this done. Yeah. Do you have any idea why it is that women in particular identify so with you? Why all of this has happened?
What, do you think it's only women?
No, I think it's both. But I think women, I think it's both. I mean, it wouldn't happen if it were just women.
Yeah.
But I also think that women feel a great identification with you.
I think, you see, I pride myself in telling the truth. I can't lie. I don't know how to. And I think that, first of all, as just an overall thing, I think that transcends the celluloid, you know what I mean? It sort of comes through the screen. So I think people have a sense of honesty, I guess, when they watch my work. Women, I don't know. I think that maybe it's that I'm so many things that... it's either a terrific quality or else it's schizophrenic. But I think to some people, because I have, you know, been described as so many different things, so many things that are really dichotomies, you know, opposing things, that to some people I'm probably very kind of Hamish, earthy, plain, I don't know. To some people I'm very exotic, strange, ethnic, weird. I don't know. I think that probably because I transmit so many things, a lot of people find something to identify with.
Is it fun being such a superstar?
Well, you're making me feel like it's fun. I mean, I must say, I hadn't thought about that before. At moments, it's great fun. A lot of moments, it's not so much fun. Because, I mean, I'm a person.
Since you brought it up now, how do you see your future? How do you see yourself? Do you know? It's a hard question.
Well, I feel very full. I mean, very full of what I want out of my life.
Which is what?
It sounds so silly. I mean, it really sounds silly. Because it sounds kind of mushy, I guess. But I've never really been into enjoying my life. And I've always been working, and working sometimes can be a painful experience, you know, not just joyful. I want to make my life joyful. And I was never much into nature. When I was young, I was sent away to a health camp, and And when I was around trees, I used to get asthma attacks. Well, I don't get them anymore, you know. I now really find great beauty in nature and in small things like, you know, baking a loaf of bread or finding a great recipe or spending a great day, just a fun day being with my family, you know. I mean, there's a lot of joy to be had in this world if you have a positive attitude and a good feeling about yourself. And I'm finding all about these things that were sublimated to my professional life.
Barbra Streisand talking with Barbara.